VAs can use this without actually accessing my Etsy shop, right?
These are tasks that I call soul-sucking tasks.
I hate like manual tasks. Like whenever I run into something that I got to do the same thing over and over, or I have to like copy and paste is like the worst for me. The Deco Plate, in my opinion, is kind of one of the hidden gems in the POD world right now.
All right, folks. So here we have Anna and Chris from AnywherePOD. Can you guys just give us a brief kind of overview about who you are and how you kind of got into the whole AnywherePOD world? I think it started with Chris and then Anna came on board a little later. So it'll be super interesting to figure out all the details here. First and foremost, thank you both for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. Thanks for having us. We appreciate the time and appreciate you having us on. That's great. So yeah, as Jay said, I'm Chris Meets. I'm the founder and creator of AnywherePOD. I actually started in the print-on-demand world back around 2016. At that time, I was working for kind of a smaller, more regional POD provider and kind of built their entire tech integrations with Etsy and Amazon and WordPress and Shopify, kind of the whole gamut. And a big focus there always was personalization. So I've been helping merchants with personalization on Etsy for years and years. A few years ago, they kind of went a different direction and we're getting out of the POD game. And along the way, close to a decade of experience with them, I always had these other ideas of things that I wanted to automate in the POD space. Coming from a tech background, I hate like manual tasks. Like whenever I run into something that I got to do the same thing over and over, or I have to like copy and paste is like the worst for me. That's almost a cuss word. I hate having to copy and paste stuff back and forth, especially when it's the same thing time and time again. So during that time, I always had these ideas of other things we could automate, from mockups to group listings to a lot of other things that you're going to see today. So I always kind of had those ideas kicking around. So a couple years ago, when they went a different route and we're getting out of the POD game, that's kind of when I decided to take all those ideas I've kind of been accumulating over the years and actually put them into practice. And that's where kind of AnywherePOD came to be. So along the way, kind of met Anna early on in the journey of AnywherePOD while she was doing some coaching. I'll let Anna kind of fill in that part of it.
Yeah. So thanks, Jay, for having us on. My name is Anna Beck. I have multiple Etsy shops and I also do coaching as well. And so I always say Chris is the mastermind and I'm like the cheerleader of Anywhere POD. I mean, he's very proud of what he's done, but he'll be like, yeah, I can help. But I'm like, guys, watch out. Like, I got to tell everybody about this because it has been such a big game changer. I mean, print on demand, when it came out, it was a big deal because this was the first time people could have an online business without inventory. I feel like Anywhere POD has kind of been also that revolutionary moment in print on demand because you can automate so many tasks now. So how Chris and I met was I had a student who had a very, very ultra personalized product that was just like smoking. I mean, it was so amazing. This was a Father's Day product. So there was that timeline coming up with the print on demand provider. And she was to the point where she had two VAs and herself. They were working around the clock. She was not getting any sleep because she had hundreds of orders that she was having to actually manually create the order for, create the artwork for, then do the orders. So it was so time consuming. It was not sustainable. So I was like, okay, we've got to find a solution because otherwise we're going to have to cancel hundreds of her orders because it just was not going to be realistic to get it in on time. And we wanted to preserve her shop because it was like just booming. So I went on to all the Facebook groups about print on demand and I just started asking people like, does anybody have a solution? And Chris was like, hey, I think I have something in a comment. And he messaged me and we talked and he's like, yeah, I think I can help your student out. I put them in contact with each other and within 24 hours had her set up. And the next day, she had all of her orders submitted. And then she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my VAs now because essentially all their work has been automated like overnight. Okay. And the same student, we actually got a message from her just recently. And she was like, I just had a great day with my family. And then I came home and I did all these orders and it only took me 2 hours. And it was just so amazing. So it's so fun to see, like, fast forward the impact that that had on her. She got her life back, her family life back. And that's why I've become the cheerleader of Anywhere POD because it is such a unique product. And to me, I call like the processes that are typically taught, even what I taught, the old way. And now this is the new way because we've got this great technology.
Wow, that's awesome. I've been down that road. I did a little bit of customization. And the blessing with it, of course, is that if you do it right, ideally you want everything to go right, but then you get slammed with orders and then it's the time consuming. Then yeah, if you
Yeah.
get bogged down, then you have to, hire help or figure out that kind of bit. And then, usually the manual part of that is now I still have to kind of proofread everybody else's kind of work that is helping to type out the personalizations or whatever, right? The caveat with executing, personalized stuff well is that it gets to be too much. And then you run into these real world problems where, you're bottlenecked now at getting things out and getting them out quickly and properly. So stoked to see where this goes. And that's a pretty incredible story. So congrats to that student. I imagine she's crushing it right now then.
She had a great Father's Day. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really awesome.
she's still crushing it. This Father's Day is going great for her. It's super rewarding to have somebody like that now several years later is still just continuing to up her game every year. She's taken that same hot product that was selling 2 years ago, and now with Anywhere POD has added bundles to it. So now it's just increasing that average order value, and it's really going great for her.
So this is great. So we're going to get into what exactly Anywhere POD is, and then we're going to, you're going to walk us through a bundle listing here, because it's not just about personalization, right? There's all kinds of automations going on with this, as far as I understand. For somebody who's brand new to print on demand and or automation tools, give us kind of like, the scoop. What exactly is Anywhere POD?
Yeah. So Anywhere POD is, we call it a print on demand automation and personalization tool, right? So the traditional way of creating print on demand products for Etsy is you're going to go to the supplier like Printify or Custom Cat T-Launch, whoever you're using. You're going to go there and create your initial product. But then when you publish that over to Etsy, it's not actually ready to start getting sales yet, right? You usually have, 3 or 4 other subscriptions and a couple hours worth of work to go and create your mockups. You got to go do all of your Etsy research. You got to pull in all of your tags. If you're doing a group listing, you have to copy and paste potentially hundreds of SKUs if you want it, automated on the ordering side, let alone then when you receive an order, you've got 2 to 5 minutes worth of work per order just on creating the artwork, downloading and re-uploading. So Anywhere POD really kind of automates that entire process. So there's really kind of 3 main feature sets that we focus on. The first we've already mentioned a few times being personalization. That's really kind of, one of our flagship feature sets of being able to automate as much of the process as possible for personalization on Etsy. So obviously being able to do text, we can do clip art. So like, popular ones like the birth flower designs where you have grandma's garden, where you can put in, a name and birth month and it selects the right flowers, that sort of thing. You can do images. You can do pretty much any type of personalization. If it's custom shapes, any of that type of stuff, you can do that on the personalization side. And then we also have a lot of automation tools along with it. So we have a direct integration with Canva, so you don't have to recreate your designs in Anywhere POD. You can import those designs directly from Canva as a PNG or as an editable template already, so you don't have to recreate a bunch of stuff. We have automation tools with Mockups, so you can actually create your own mockup templates in Anywhere POD, set all of your shirt colors, and then anytime you create that shirt or any of those colors in the future, it's just going to automatically generate your set of mockups for you without any additional work, no extra steps at
That's
all.
awesome.
So yeah, it's huge time saver, especially when you get into, I know you're a big fan of doing like group listings where you've got multiple designs. Really, it's just a matter of uploading that design or importing it from Canva. And it's just going to automatically create the correct mockups for you just right there on the fly.
Now, to tear that proverbial Band-Aid off, like for people watching this, is this something that if you're not tech savvy or you're new to tools, is this something that is like beginner friendly, or is this something that is going to have a little bit of a learning curve? I know parts of it are obviously going to come with time and use and putting them into practice, but how is this like out of the gate, out of the box?
Yeah, so I mean, there is a learning curve to anything you go to use, but we really try to meet sellers where they are. So we try to keep things simple enough that if you're, a grandma sitting at home just trying to make a couple extra bucks selling coffee mugs, you're going to be able to use this software and be able to automate your personalization. If you're a more advanced user and you want, some of the more advanced things, you're going to be able to do those as well. And we try to keep it as simple as possible. We also offer tons of support. So if you ever have a question, I will say we try to give the level of support that we always wish we had in software through the years that you never really quite get. So we do, we keep up on support tickets often. We do live streams, one-on-one calls. Like, we're there to help you because you do run into things. You're using a new system, but we try to keep it as simple and intuitive as possible for anybody to use. And really, kind of, once you see the process and you walk through it once, you realize how fast and easy it really is to create these products.
So for someone who has done it kind of the I should say traditional way. It's pretty amazing that we're to the point where actually I think if you start as a new print on demand seller, you won't even ever need to know the old way. Like you'll actually like if you were to hear us,
Interesting.
you'd be like, what are they talking about? Like what is this download and upload process or mockups? I mean, and as a coach, I used to say don't do personalization because of that bottleneck problem you were talking about, Jay. I'd be like, don't do that. Now it's like, oh, wait, why would I not do it? Yes, there's going to be a learning curve because you're starting something new and it's going to be difficult, but there's actually going to be vocabulary, kind of like, using like a landline phone. Like our kids are like, what's a landline phone? That's
Hmm.
how a lot of these steps are going to be talked about. If you're new and you're actually coming into Anywhere POD, if you learn this process, you're going to hear everybody else and you're going to be like, wait, I'm very confused. What are all these? Am I missing something? It's like, no, they're missing something now. You're ahead of the curve because you've eliminated so many of the manual things that were once were the steps needed to be successful. You just no longer need them anymore. So that's why I love Anywhere POD.
Yeah. And, to your point, there's so many things that have already changed in the 12 going on 13 years that I've been doing POD.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mind
Yeah.
blowing, right?
Oh, it
Yep.
Just
is.
being able to, there's so many things that you can kind of automate now. But the difference here is that, if I'm wrong, and we're going to get into a walkthrough here momentarily, but this isn't just about personalization. This isn't just about automating parts of the business, right? You're like the one-stop shop, or is that kind of the idea here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are kind of your print on demand hub, right? So we
Okay.
integrate right now. We have 8 suppliers, more kind of on the way that are coming. So you're able in one platform for all 8 of those suppliers. You're able to create and manage your products, your artwork, your orders, the entire process right from one centralized hub. So to list with all 8 suppliers, instead of having to go learn 8 different systems and how to create a product in 8 different systems, you learn how to create a product once in Anywhere POD, and now you have the knowledge to create any product across the entire product catalog from any of those 8 suppliers and more that are on the way without having to learn something new every single time. It's the exact same process throughout.
That's awesome.
A streamlined process. So I call it it's my hub now. This is where I start. I don't start with Printify. I don't start on Etsy. I don't start on Canva. I start right in Anywhere POD because I can just repeat those steps. So yeah, that's another one of those things that in the past is like, oh, well, you have to go to this print on demand provider to get them and do this and go there, learn their process and how they integrate and da 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 da. So yes, we can streamline all of that, saving time. So it's very, very cool.
That's awesome because two members, I was telling you guys, two members in my membership were telling me about Anywhere POD, and I hadn't really, heard much. Like, I think Anna reached out by email, and then I said, "Does anybody have any of you guys heard about it?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we use it, and it's awesome." Like, what does it do? It's like, looking at the website, I was like, okay, so personalization, some automation things, but it's like, oh no, start to finish, full throttle. So I'm like, this is cool. So super interesting. So again, grateful that you guys are taking the time here. So that said, let's look at how this works. Let's put it into action here.
Yeah, and while Chris is pulling this up, just to note, I know that we're talking a lot about Etsy, but this all works for Shopify as well. So if you're a user for both Etsy and Shopify, you can use Anywhere POD and you can connect both of those accounts to your account.
Awesome. So quick question on that note then. Have you guys heard of and or have plans to integrate with Everbee Shop?
Yes, we have. And yes, we are talking to them about possibilities for an integration and hope to see that be able to come to life. So yes, we have had conversations with them, love what they're doing over there, and have some really, really cool ideas to be able to take that to the next level with personalization.
Pretty awesome to see Cody say things like, I want to, be Shopify's direct competitor. Like that's huge, right? So loving the ambition. So
That's
that's good. That's
a
great news.
big goal.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Let me pull up my screen here. So this is Anywhere POD. I already have, as you can see, all of my accounts and everything connected here, but connection process is really simple. It's just a matter of clicking connect, and then the following kind of walks you through the process and follows along their instructions there. So if you're going to use Anywhere POD, basically you're going to create your products to begin with in Anywhere POD, like we said before. So you're not going to go to Printify to create your products. All of your orders are still fulfilled directly with the provider. So if you're selling Printify, you're creating that product on Anywhere POD. When you get an order, it's first going to come into Anywhere POD, but the order is still going to be sent directly to your Printify account. So same pricing applies. You're not getting charged anything extra using Anywhere POD for any of your products. So I'm going to jump in today. We're going to create a t-shirt group listing. So it's going to be kind of for the bridal shower niche where they have multiple different designs that they can select from. And we'll show you how easy it is to create that product. So what I'm going to do is come in here to my product catalog. And again, the creation process is very similar. If you're used to creating products on Printify, the workflow is very similar. So we're just going to go to our product catalog here into t-shirts. And then we're going to select the product that we want. In this case, we'll do this Comfort Colors shirt here. And then we're going to select our supplier. So in this case, we'll do Swift POD. All of the options, all of the products that Printify offers, everything's available here in Anywhere POD. So you have the exact same selections. So we're going to come here and go to Start Designing. Now, this is kind of our artwork designer where you can set up all of your personalization, upload any of your artwork, all that sort of stuff. Now, if you're not using Canva, you can still use this. You're just going to download your image from whatever software you're using. Say if you're using Kittl or Photoshop or something like that, you'll download it as a PNG just without the personalization field, and then you'll add that personalization field here in Anywhere POD. In this case, though, I've got my design in Canva, so I can just say add from Canva. Now you can either import as a PNG, which that's just going to take care of exporting in the correct size and dimensions and everything from Canva for you. Or what's really cool here, if you're doing personalization, you can click on import layers. Now what this is going to do is going to import that entire design, all of the layers from Canva, exactly how I designed it in Canva, and it's going to import those here in Anywhere POD as an editable template. So now all I need to do is come to my text layer and mark that as personalized. That way the system knows that, hey, when the customer enters this date, this is where we want the date entered. And it's really that easy. If you're designing with Canva, it sucks it all in and it's already set up for you and ready to go.
Yep. And so you can do this with, if you're not doing personalization, that's totally fine. You can also do this with a normal design, but it's still going to save you tons of time to not have to download it, upload it, find the file, bring it into the listing, right? So this is very versatile, but this is the step for personalization that allows you to be able to do it without bottlenecking yourself. But also, if you just have a design that isn't personalized, that's totally fine. You're going to do the same process.
Yeah, it's really amazing how big of a pain downloading and uploading a PNG file is until you don't have to do it anymore. Up until now, that was just always what you had to do. You have to download the PNG. You have to make sure it's at the right dimensions. If you're doing blankets, you have to make sure you're doing all of the right math and everything in Canva to make sure it's exporting in the right dimensions. With Anywhere POD, you don't have to worry about any of that anymore. You click a button and it takes care of all of that for you. You're not filling up your computer hard drive. It's just sucking it all over for you. It makes it a lot easier.
It's funny, like you say, going from being able to create an SVG for the plotters of the world before direct-to-garment printing was a thing. Yes, I'm that old and have been in the game that long, but and then going to all you need is a PNG, and then like, okay, that's huge. So that all of a sudden was a massive time saver, right? Because now I can I don't have to limit myself from a creative perspective, and then you're not just doing like solid colors and basic shapes. To now that's been the status quo for like a decade, and now you're saying like this isn't even potentially a thing anymore, kind of like the telephone going away, right? Amazing.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, so we have that set up. We have a couple of colors set here. So now all I need to do is come down here and click on Create Product. And this is actually going to create the product for me in Anywhere POD. It's first going to generate any of my artwork with the placeholder text and everything that I had created. And then it's going to generate all of the mockups that are available for that product as well. So in this case, if I come in here to select mockups, you can see I still have access to all of the mockups that are available from Printify. But if I come over here to custom mockups, I also have a mockup template that I already have set up on this product that I set up ahead of time. So now anytime I create this comfort color shirt, it already matches the correct colors to my mockups and generate those on the fly for me already. So these are my custom mockups that I had created. Those are in here and selected and just automatically ready for me to go over along with the listing when I publish it over.
So these could be ones that you've potentially purchased on Etsy proper and then uploaded them. Awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. So most of these are ones, you purchase the mockup on Etsy or get it off Creative Fabrica or something like that. You upload it to Anywhere POD and basically say, hey, here's my banana color, here's my bay color, whatever the case is. And then anytime you create those colors in the future, it's just going to automatically select and create those mockups for you.
So just to point out, the old way or the old landline telephone way would be that you would have to actually purchase the mockup, bring it into Canva or whatever your tool is, most likely Canva. You're going to have to bring that design in. You're going to have to place it on there. You're going to have to download it. And then you're going to have to upload it into your listing or, whether it's through whatever way you're doing it, but you still have to upload it into your listing. And that's how you're going to get your mockup, right? Now, that seemed very normal until now. So now you're literally just setting up a template, and while you're working on your listing, in seconds, it's getting done for you in the background. Huge time saver. These are tasks that I call soul sucking tasks. These are the ones that make you want to quit POD. This is why we automate it, because you don't want the soul sucking tasks in your process anymore. Right? We want to forget that those ever existed, shove them way back in our memory so we know that this is over. This is a thing of the past.
You are speaking to me right now, like me, like in my soul. I have like, oh man, I don't know. I could highlight and select to see, but there's got to be at least 60 mockups I have created and haven't listed because it's just a tedious point of dragging and dropping. And it's so simple to do. It's just, I
So simple.
don't want to. Yeah.
It's not
So
fun. Like you
painful.
want to spend your time not only on like the money making tasks, right? Like creating a mock-up isn't a money making task, right? Not only that, it's not fun. Like it's so much more fun to
Sucks.
research or
Sucks.
to create a new design. Like that's the type of stuff that like as creative people, like that's what you want to be spending your time doing. Not only is that the thing that's going to make you more money, but that's also the thing that brings you more enjoyment, right? And
Right.
both are really important.
Yeah, but the mock-up is important. Like you have to have a
Oh, yeah.
mock-up, and you have to have a good mock-up.
You got to
And
nail it. Yeah.
you've got to nail it. Like
Mhm.
you could do all the time researching, and those are truly the money-making tasks, the researching and the designing, but
Hmm.
you have to list it and you have to have a good mock-up so it's enticing, it's the eye candy to get your design looked at. And so it's like it's so necessary, but it's so painful.
This is like now you're preaching to the choir. This is something I've always said is like the research is number one because you need to know who you're speaking to in order to create that design, right, and have that ideal customer in mind.
Yep.
But the second part of this is being able to package that design. You can totally tank your amazing design that hits the nail on every marker element that should be a bestseller in a week from now. You can totally tank it by putting it on the wrong mock-up or just displaying it
Yes.
in a
Absolutely.
terrible way. So this is, yeah, I mean, I take care with my mockups because they matter just as much as the design does, right?
Absolutely.
But it still sucks. Yeah.
It does.
Yep.
It does.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So this is, you can see we did the design here that we did is bride. So we have one for the bride now. Now we need one for the bridesmaids. So we have another tribe design that we want to add to this so that the user can select not only their size and color, but also what design they want. So before we add that design, what we want to do is come down here and add this design name to our color field so that they're going to be selecting the design name and the color at the same time. So we can actually update all of these color names here in bulk. If we come up here to update variant names, and what we want to do is just add to the front the color, we want to just add the word bride. So they're going to be selecting bride as well as the color in that list. And this is just getting ready so that we can add this second design, and they'll have the choice between the two designs as well. So there we see we have bride on there. So now what we want to do is add in our variant option for what we're going to call the tribe design instead of bride. So to do that, we're going to come up here to add variants. Now this is probably one of our most powerful and versatile features. This lets you do tons of stuff that you can do with group listings, whether it's different designs like I'm about to show you, We could also add different products. So if we wanted to offer this on a t-shirt as well as a sweatshirt, we can add that option using this functionality. Really, the possibilities are endless when it comes to this.
I just want to point out, guys, that as we're getting into this, this is a little bit more of an advanced strategy. Okay. If you're brand new and you've listed that one shirt, go ahead and publish that bad boy. Like, get it out in the world so you can start getting the experience of building your store up, getting those views, getting that data back. That's totally fine. Okay. These are kind of ways that you can build out your store. You can create more like mega listings. You can create more value by having the group listing. So I just want to point that out so you're not feeling overwhelmed like, oh, now I got to start doing all these fancy things. You don't have to do that, but we're showing this so you know what the possibilities are, so you know how simple this is, so you could actually act like a top seller, start working like a top seller a lot faster than you could have in the past. Okay. In the past, this was something that people might take a year or two to get to. This is something that with a little bit of practice, you could actually start doing pretty much immediately now. Okay. So if you need to, publish that first listing. If you're like, oh no, I want to be all in, then these are your next steps. And they are simple to implement. And we just want to put that out there so that you're not overwhelmed, but that you also can see like the full breadth of like how this all comes together and how easy it is.
And with everything, it all seems a little more daunting when it's all new, right? So just with practice
Yeah,
and repetition, everything that we build up in our head to be so difficult is almost never as hard as we make it out to be.
right, exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so in this case, what we're doing, we're going to select the same shirt and we're just going to add a different design to it. So I'm going to go here again to View Suppliers. And we're going to use that same Swift POD and go to Start Designing. And we're going to import from Canva again, except this time I'm going to do page 2 because I have that set up in my Canva design. Page 2 is my second design that I want to add. So I'm going to say Import Layers here.
So all of these designs then, while it's importing, are in one Canva file, just on different pages?
Exactly. Yep. This was the same Canva file, just 2 different pages. Yep. So you can see this one has tribe on here instead of bride. So we're just going to make sure to mark our date again as personalized and select the same 2 colors here. And now when we click on update product here, instead of it creating this as a new product, it's just going to add the variations for that second product to my list down here. So now I just need to update my variant names here so that it has tribe in front of these colors here. So we're going to do that same update variant names process again. This time we want to make sure that we're selecting these 2 colors that don't have the art name in front of it because those are the only variants that we want to update. So we're on this one, gonna say tribe and click on update. And now when we publish this over to Etsy, the customer is going to have the choice of size like normal, but then in color, they're going to have the choice between bride or tribe along with their color, allowing them to select the design. It's going to automatically take whatever date they entered, drop that into the design that they selected when the order comes into AnywherePOD, and completely automate the entire process from there. So
Nice.
After we have that added, of course, you want to set your title. You can change your description, any of that type of stuff in here. We do have a little Etsy analyzer tool that kind of helps find some of the top performing tags on Etsy that you can utilize if you want to. We have a nice video generator here that'll create like a slideshow style video for you that'll automatically go over with your listing as well. We'll use any of the mockups that you have loaded in your account so you can create that video as well. And then once you're ready, you're just going to click on the Create New Listing button here at the top. It's going to publish over to your Etsy drafts, and you can make any additional changes in Etsy like you would any other normal listing.
And for those who push from the POD to Etsy, this would automatically all be synced up, good to go.
Exactly. So this is going to sync everything. So you'll have a group listing that is automatically synced with all of the correct AnywherePOD SKUs and everything all set up for you. So especially, if you're doing a group listing that doesn't have personalization, every single order is going to be 100% automated. You won't have to do anything when an order comes in. It's going to import to AnywherePOD. We're going to select the correct artwork, and it's going to publish off to Printify or whoever your supplier is to be fulfilled. If you're doing personalization, it's up to you if you want them to auto-fulfill or not. You can set per order whether or not you want it to auto-fulfill. If it's just a simple date like this, it would be pretty simple to automate that. It's also very, very easy if you don't have it. If you have auto-fulfill turned off, the order is going to come in. It's going to go on hold. You can just take a quick second, review, make sure that they entered, 2025 correctly or whatever the year is. They didn't fat finger it or anything, and release the hold. So really only a couple seconds per order to be able to approve orders, even if it's not auto fulfilled.
And
Cool.
another nice thing too is if you have a customer who messages you and is like, "Hey, I could you make this quick change?" Like I've had people who, I had a gift giving item that was personalized. They wanted to make it a little extra special because it was maybe like a memorial kind of gift.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually change the artwork within Anywhere POD, or if you need to create the design in Canva, you can drop it in Anywhere POD. So in the past, the old way, you would have to actually cancel that order, redo the
Mm-hmm.
artwork, upload it, create the order again, and then you'd have to manually wait for it and see if you could you'd wait for it for the tracking number and then you'd close out the order in Etsy. So again, this is why I always say like this is a one-stop shop. Everything comes together because you can make all the listing, but we even go a step further where if you're having these little problems or these little hiccups or these little changes, that can all happen within here as well.
I'm just thinking now, like it's a good problem to have, but I'm thinking there's going to be, if Etsy, I don't know, if there's a problem that comes up, like nobody's going to know how to troubleshoot at the grassroots level because they're going to be so far removed from it because you can just literally push a button here and set it and forget it. This is what I've already learned now is like the closest thing to potentially passive income from that Etsy perspective. Like with Amazon merch, you kind of have that, right? With Etsy, there's a lot more, moving parts other than customer service. Now everything else is pretty much done for you.
And if it's not done for you and automated, it is at least greatly shortens that task. So, we try to get you where you can spend as much time as possible. Instead of spending your time, servicing orders that you've already received, we want you to spend as much time, doing the work to get future orders instead of servicing past ones. Because you've got that order. That's already there. That's already in the bank. So the less amount of time you can spend having to fulfill those orders, the more time you're going to have on working on getting those future orders. So even if there is something that you need to do, like that special, request that Anna was talking about, we still make that process as simple and streamlined as possible. So you don't have to do a bunch of extra work and spend extra time on an order that you've already received.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
makes perfect
So
sense.
let me share another story of how this has really worked well for me. So I have a Halloween couple shirt that has sold well forever. It's super evergreen. I mean, it is seasonal, but it is very evergreen. It just kind of goes on repeat. And so over the years on Etsy, I've really developed this listing to add many options. The problem was because it was a couple shirt, I wanted to offer it on the same listing. I didn't want it to be separated where somebody had to try and find the other half of it. So what I decided to do was I was just going to manually do these orders. Big regrets
I
because
don't mean to laugh,
find
but
out,
yeah,
yeah,
I've
consumes
been
your
there. It
whole
sucks.
life. Yeah, it does. It is a soul sucker. Okay. So what would happen is I would get these orders and I would have to match the design that they wanted with the other design they wanted from the couple shirt. Then I would have to input everything manually into Printify. I would mess up their addresses, not all the time, but enough that I remember it because people would be like, "Where's my order?" And I realized, when I had copied and paste, it was the other address from before, whatever reason, because I was doing a bunch of
Yep.
these orders. Jay's feeling my pain. Look at the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I've been there, like, because a lot of the stuff autofills, right? With the address element. Man, we used to use
yeah.
ShipStation too. And yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so what ended up happening was as I spent all my August, September, and early October fulfilling these orders, and then all of a sudden I realized I don't have anything ready for Christmas because
Christmas,
I've been,
Q4.
yeah, Q4. And it was like, even though that was Q4, like the beginning, I missed like the whole other back end of it.
Mm.
And it really just limited me. And that's really when I started to like preach, like, don't do complicated listings, don't do these things because it's just too difficult. So then when
Yep.
I connected everything with Anywhere POD, I would forget about it. So I was like, oh, shoot, I make sure that all these orders look good. Kind of like what you're saying, Jay, is like people won't know what to do. They won't troubleshoot or even realize maybe they have a problem because all of a sudden Anywhere POD, they did all the matching. They pulled in the address. I had no mistakes. So that was another huge thing. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't have mistakes. I don't have people emailing me being like, where's my order? Because I accidentally sent it to, California instead of New York. So that was really, really big for me. That really helped a lot.
Yeah. Being able to ship out, because I mean, it's not in the bridal niche, but it's still time sensitive, right? Everyone's a late
Yeah.
shopper, last minute costumes, that kind
Yep.
of thing. Being able to
Yep.
send that stuff out ultimately rushing everything and not making mistakes, which inherently come when we rush processes. That's huge. That's huge. Definitely felt your pain on that.
So maybe I'll show here, let me show an order here real quick, and those options that we were talking about that you have on the ordering side.
Great.
So here's an order for that one that we just did. You can see they entered 2025. It came in with 2025. Everything's set and all set up for you. If you do need to change the text, it's just a matter of clicking on edit personalization here. You can change, maybe it said, oh shoot, I meant to put in 2026. You can easily make that change there, update that item. And then once you're happy that everything looks good here, all you have to do is click on release hold here at the top. It's going to go over to your Printify account. They're going to invoice you like any other order that you've received on your Etsy store. All that's going to be the same. They're going to do the print, pack, and fulfillment. We'll get the tracking number when it ships, and we'll update your Etsy listing once it ships as well. And everything's just kind of automated with the flow throughout there. If you do need to make, like maybe they ask for something other than Camp Bachelorette that you want to be able to accommodate, you can easily click on the swap artwork here and be able to upload any new artwork and make any additional edits here that you need to on that item. It makes it very, very simple for you.
Yeah, I can definitely see a pretty good use case pretty quickly for this. And I'm going to have to test this out for sure. So in my case, I always suggest having no more than, 2 or 3 font choices or 2 or 3 colors, but not only in each design, but also in your shop, just for brand cohesion, right? And in that same breath, decision fatigue is real. So I always try to limit it to 4 to 5 potential mock-up colors. That said, it's only 4 to 5 potential mock-up colors, but it's still a pain in the butt to have to, list a design on each kind of color of mock-up. So that's something I'm not going to have to do with this, right? Based on what you were saying.
Exactly. So when you upload it, you select the color, it's going to automatically create that mock-up for you from your custom templates that you created. It'll automatically select the right product as well. So if you're doing, like in this case, we were doing t-shirts. If I wanted to add a sweatshirt option to this as well, I can easily add that to a sweatshirt as well. It's going to automatically generate and select the right mock-ups for the t-shirt and for the sweatshirt with the right designs that you select as you're building it.
Awesome. So we were talking about, saving time and stuff too, excruciating amounts of time. How much time could you say, a beginner would realistically plausibly save using AnywherePOD versus, trying to do everything manually, especially like a beginner, and then, potentially maybe somebody more seasoned who kind of has their, systems more ironed out?
I like to tell people you're going to save about 90% on manual tasks. As you can see, like when you're like, oh, is this done? It's like, yeah, we actually get through a listing very, very quickly now because you're bringing all those tasks into one spot. So that in itself is time saving, in addition to the fact that so much of it is just automated and done in the background. So of course, we still have to create our listing. We can't do that out of thin air, but really, I find when I'm creating a listing, I really truly am cutting out, probably 90% of the work. And, we have less human error. So that's saving time. I'm not having to pick from different softwares, that do certain things as a standalone. Again, it all comes back together. So I like to say you're saving about 90% on those manual tasks, or you're able to work 10 times faster on the tasks that really grow your shop. And that's going to be your research and your design. That's what we really want you doing more of, because that's when you get your data back faster and you can make better decisions and build off of actually what's working. You're not getting bogged down by those heavy soul sucking tasks.
Yeah. So you mentioned something there that important to kind of reiterate here is that you're not just a customization tool. You're not just a mock-up uploading tool. You're kind of the one-stop shop, right? So all that said, what platforms do you guys integrate with again? I know there was in terms of the selling platforms, right now it was Shopify and Etsy, and you're looking at Everbee Shop, which will be great. On the POD side, what were the options there? So you got them all perfect right on screen.
Yeah. So we got them all up here. There are 8 of them that we have right now. Like I said, we have probably another half a dozen or so in one form or another that we're working on the kind of onboarding process that we should be seeing in the coming months. So some of the main ones that you've heard of: Printify, Custom Cat, Shine On, T-Launch. Then we also have, so one of the things that we also focus on at AnywherePOD is focusing on providers and products that aren't widely available from other suppliers. In particular, that's where you're going to see things like Deco Plate. We are one of the few direct integrations with Deco Plate that's available out there. You can't really find their products out there. 100% made in the USA. I should explain here. They're dinnerware. So they have plates, bowls, platters, super unique, 100% made and shipped from the USA. And these do absolutely crazy numbers, excellent profit margins. This really, Deco Plate, in my opinion, is kind of one of the hidden gems in the POD world right now. Not many people know about them. The supplier doesn't have a direct integration. So really, to be able to sell their product, your options are really, really limited. And Anywhere POD is one of those places that kind of makes that possible.
And you guys, that said, you guys are going to be offering some massive discounts here. So just stay tuned for that, folks. But go ahead, Anna. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say this is one of the strategies that really has helped me grow my shop is finding products that have been underserved, or I guess I should say aren't widely known. And that is really important to me and Chris is that we're not just giving you a product that like is going to be really difficult to sell. We want you to have the best chance for success. So not only do we bring together all of these tasks to automate it, make it easier so you can forget the old or yeah, well, if you're advanced, forget the things of the past, the tasks of the past, or never even learn those because you're just starting. But we want you to also have these unique products because it is so much easier to sell a product where there is little competition. Like 100 times easier. So this is a high priority that we are pushing is finding people who are willing to sell products. We do research on products and see if we can find a supplier willing to test them out. And that's something we definitely hope to grow and very high value of using Anywhere POD so that you can have a greater chance for success. And I also want to note too that with Printify, they are bringing in Printful into their
Mhm.
catalog. So you will be able to access Printful through Printify here. So even though you don't see Printful, it's actually going to be kind of hidden through Printify.
Yeah, they started to bring in some other. I was just gonna say, yeah. So they have actually brought over some of their Printful's most popular items now. So you're starting to see a little bit of a shift there already,
Yeah.
and their turnaround times are surprisingly awesome compared to where they were a few years back.
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on what Anna was saying with the unique products. It's kind of one of those things on Etsy. You got to find that way to stand out from other people, right? So like your design's obviously one of the best ways to do that. Finding that unique design, making sure you're doing your research, making sure you have the mockups that are standing out. But at the same time, if you're only ever offering the same products that other people are, being able to have that product that you're able to kind of combine that with the unique design. Now, not only are you standing out with your unique design, but you're also standing out with this unique product that isn't widely available. It can really, really help drive that success on Etsy, especially somebody that's just starting out. It's sometimes hard to compete with some of those seasoned, sellers that are out there, and offering some unique products is a really good way to kind of help kind of prime the pump on that new Etsy shop.
Nice. A couple of questions here just came to mind. One is any other features with this? I feel like there's like a million and one other features that we haven't really talked about, but I know skimming the surface, this is huge already. But are there anything that maybe we haven't covered that you might want to highlight? If not, that's okay.
Yeah. So a couple things, probably the two main things I would highlight, and you're right, there is a lot more. We could stick around all day going in depth on all of them, right? But a couple of the main things that we find really beneficial for people is we do also have a bulk uploader here. So what this will allow you to do is upload designs in bulk. So if I've got 25 designs already made, I can create a product, my initial product once to begin with, upload my 25 new designs. This is one of the areas that you still have to upload a PNG file. We're working on being able to import those from Canva as well. But you upload your 25 designs and click on submit, and it's going to go through and automatically swap out that artwork. It's going to take all of the same variants and pricing and everything that you have set up on your initial design. It's going to duplicate that 25 times, upload your 25 files, create all of your custom mockups for all 25 products that it just created. And it's going to create all of those in bulk for you automatically. So you're not having to go through and create those one by one as well.
Yeah, that's a huge one we didn't want to leave out. The other one that came to mind, because I was something that was probably my first question, because you had mentioned it before we chatted, but you mentioned to me that VAs can use this without actually accessing my Etsy shop, right? This has been like a deal breaker for a lot of us who've been around for a while, because we don't want to give access to our back end, right? Talk to me about this. Like, what's the deal here?
Absolutely. So you can invite anybody else to be a member of your team in Anywhere POD. So if you come up here to your team members section here, you can put in any email here. and invite them to be a member of your team. They'll get an invite. They click on that link, create their Anywhere POD account, and now they have access to create products for you inside of Anywhere POD without having to have that access to your Etsy store. So they essentially have access to do everything that you need to within Anywhere POD. The only thing they don't have access to in Anywhere POD is kind of the billing side of it. But the
Perfect.
rest of it, they have full access to create products, create mockups, do all that sort of stuff for you.
That's awesome. Now, do you guys have tutorials built in here that I could send to a VA potentially, or are we building the like some kind of resource library out?
Yes, we absolutely do. So over here on the left, you'll see this tab here for training videos. This will take you to our YouTube channel that has all of our training videos that we're still continuing to add there as well. So make sure to check that out. And if you do need any help, I know I mentioned before about kind of the level of support we give. We actually encourage people to reach out to our customer support, because if you have a question, chances are somebody else does too, and just hasn't asked it yet. So by asking that question to us, we know where we need to kind of improve on that communication. So you're kind of getting your questions answered ahead of time. So if you ever have a question, come down here to the bottom right. This is actually a ChatGPT powered AI bot that is trained on all of our past support tickets and as well all of our YouTube videos. So this is a great way to get really, really fast answers. It actually does a really good job. As soon as you ask a question, there's also a button to contact support. That will create a support ticket in our system. We still want you to create that support. If you have a question and this isn't getting you the answer, we still want you to reach out. But that's another resource available for you there as well.
And this was really cool seeing Chris put this together, because Chris doesn't want anything to not work. Like, he is very particular about making everything work seamlessly, getting people real help. And so I know like bots are really popular right now, AI is really popular right now, but he played around with this a lot, and we had some good discussions about, is this actually going to be helpful for you? And
And not
so
just waste time, right?
not just waste time, or
Right.
I hate the bots that are like, do you actually want this question answered? And I'm like, no, I gave you the exact thing that I want answered, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, I played around with it, and it really did give quality answers that I feel like helps people get those questions answered faster if they're kind of in those off hours. But we also talked about too, like, we need to make sure that a human is always accessible, because we want that support for people. And so those are values that are very, very important to us at Anywhere POD. And so, yes, please feel free to reach out so you can have that human connection, but also know that that was trained and really thought out too, so that it gets you results and is probably better than what you actually think it is.
Well, this is
Yeah.
exactly part and parcel with what you were talking about, how the right mock-up can make or break an amazing design, right? You have an amazing product, and the right level of support, or the lack thereof, can totally tank, anybody's use on it. Says I'm guilty at the same breath. If I'm not getting what I need at the third, attempt, I'm like, this is crap, this is BS. I'm
Yep.
moving on to something else, right? So that's a huge element that we didn't even need to talk about. But the fact that you guys brought that up proactively, I think, is kind of telltale of what's to come. So that's pretty cool. I got here a note that one of the major questions, of course, is, so you guys are giving us some free trials. You can elaborate on that. That is absolutely awesome. But what will it cost us after those free trials are over? And is there a money back guarantee? What if, somebody thinks it sucks? Unlikely. But what if maybe they, just don't use it, or don't use it as much as they thought they could?
Yeah, so absolutely. First, on that free trial, check the link in the description down below. We'll have a link there from Jay, as well as a coupon code. It's going to be Jay's Way 30. That will get you your first month for free on any of our subscription plans. So we
Awesome.
have 3 different plans that we offer. The first one is $9.99 a month, and that gets you 1 supplier and 1 Etsy store and text personalization. If you want to go beyond that, our kind of pro plan is $24.99. That lets you do a second supplier, second Etsy store, and image personalization as well. And then our Pro Plus plan is really, especially since you're getting that free trial, you're going to want to at least test out that Pro Plus plan. That's going to be the one that lets you do the add variants, all of the mockup generation, basically all of the features, the kind of more advanced features that we showed today. Those are all going to be in the Pro Plus plan. Unlimited suppliers, unlimited Etsy stores, all of that. All 3 plans do not have any order fees. So we do not charge anything at all per order. The only fee you ever get from Anywhere POD is going to be that monthly fee. So you still get to keep 100% of all of your profits for any orders.
That's awesome. I got no other word to describe that. That's pretty cool. So you're not nickel and diming us on 20 cents here and there or whatever it is.
Yep.
That's cool.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we want you guys to be able to, like I said, keep all the profit and not feel like
Right.
we're kind of getting
Yeah.
our hands in your pocket for everyone. And it also then allows you to, if we're charging per order, then I'll do personalized orders there, but not maybe some of the other orders. We want you to be able to take full advantage of the tools in Anywhere POD for all of your listings, not just your personalized listings. So that's why we just no order fees
Yeah.
across the board.
Felt like it added to the user experience to know that you're truly using software that's not going to take more money from you on the back end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's just great business ethics that way. And yeah, it's a pain point that nobody ever talks about because it's usually not a thing it's something that they always add on. But again, you
Yep.
guys seem pretty forthright with all of that. That's pretty awesome. Stand up.
We view it as a partnership and want you guys to be successful as well. So we think that all plays into it. So
Yeah, that's great. There will be questions, and I will send everybody right to your support. So I'm sorry if it opens the floodgates there, but ideally, it sounds like your chatbot will sort it out. But definitely, hopefully, we'll get an influx of questions because that means people are actually taking action. So I just want to thank you guys for breaking this all down and showing how Anywhere POD can honestly save time and simplify all the little things. It's not just one or two, a product that does this or a product that does that. It seems like you're like that one-stop shop. I keep saying it, but there's no other way to describe it. For your POD workflow now, it seems like it's going to be a massive time saver and a pretty decent game changer here. I think we're talking like next level here.
So there's one last thing I
yeah,
want to throw into is we love doing implementation workshops, and we would love to do one for the people watching. We're going to put the link for that below with a personalization toolkit. So you can have some information, you can jump into some products and some keywords to start testing. And then you can also join this implementation workshop so that you can follow along. And it's live. It's actually just like this. It's a conversation. You can show your face. You don't have to show your face. You can ask questions as you're implementing. People love this because I always say you're an expert at automation at the end of the hour. So you can get all of that below, and you'll get that information, and you can join us and jump in so that you can do things the new way. And you can be a top seller. You can put those practices in immediately.
That's awesome. So is it a live stream or is it just a live call?
So it will be a live call that
Okay.
will be on a specific date. We'll put that in the information below. We'll give you that link. And yeah, it will be live. There will be a replay. But again, we really, really believe in implementing. And so we find that when people can walk through it with us and we do these calls, then that's when they have the most success. And so, yeah, we will do that here coming up very soon for your audience. And then people who see this, maybe after that date, the replay will be available and they can still jump in. And yeah, and then if you want to get into personalization, you'll also have that toolkit to get those ideas going quickly and be able to jump in fast.
I was going to say it's really like a guided walkthrough. So we actually give you the design on that as well. So the design we're creating, we provide to you. You're able to go into your account, walk along step by step with us. So if you have any questions, you're able to ask them in real time and be able to handle it all there. So we're excited about that because it always really helps people kind of get up to speed real fast, get their questions answered right away, and it really helps out.
Yeah, and I was just going to say this is something where we'll have the live workshop for everybody in my Inner Circle membership, which is absolutely amazing. And I'm also thinking we might just do it StreamYard and broadcast it on YouTube. Why not? Right? Let everybody see. The exclusivity element is going to be for the members. You're the ones who get to have the interactive element and ask the questions, but then at least everybody else can see this kind of thing in action too. So yeah, that works for you guys and we can figure that out.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd be happy to. That'd be great.
Thank you guys so much for your time. This has been a great conversation too. It feels interactive. It didn't feel like you were just kind of giving a sales pitch or anything like that. So that alone, I think, speaks for itself, being able to answer questions on the fly. Because for those of you watching, I don't always just give people scripts of questions. I always like to throw in a couple of curveballs here that, stumble people just to see how they react. You believe in the product. You believe it works. I'm excited to test it out. So, and a couple of members I have say that it is a game changer. So stoked to try it out. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much, folks, for everything, all your time. I'm excited to try it out. And you guys just both seem like really good people. And that bodes well with me. So thanks for watching, folks. And we'll see you guys soon.